Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Welcome in. Jimmy, two times here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. What a morning to start here, talking a little A&M after one of the most, I don't know, was that the best quarter of football I've seen in my A&M history? Potentially. Let's start the show off a little differently than we normally do. OB is going to join us in the go hour. We're going to call it the low hour at 10 a.m. We're flipping the script. Billy Liucci on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline joining us to start off the show. Billy, good morning, sir. How are you? You don't say. Going once?
What?
There you are. Hey, Billy.
Well, I was on, David. You freaked out. You put me on a going once after 1 second?
It was 3 seconds.
Oh.
It's actually 8:02 in the morning.
Yep. It's rare that I hear the song, the show opening song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
Billy, let's start this morning off with, I kind of want to work with the current events and work our way to the game on Saturday. When you look at A&M's history against LSU and what it means for coaches on their last day potentially, Les Miles in 2015 was supposed to be his last day. He ends up winning that game. They end up keeping him. Ed O's last game in 2021, A&M loses on that Max Johnson strike, and Ed O is celebrated on a season that was horrific for them. And then just 48 hours ago, whatever it was, A&M beats Brian Kelly so bad that they pull the trigger, and the Louisiana governor says, "You're out, my friend."
He said, "You're out." Look, Brian Kelly, it wasn't just that, too. Don't forget, you had Ed O kind of solidified his job to get the job as an interim by coming in here and beating A&M at Kyle Field. I believe that was the game Darius Geis ran wild over the Aggies back in 2016. I think that was it. But whichever it was, yeah, Ed O came in and earned himself the job that night. I think that was also a Jimbo Fisher night where LSU, or no, that was when LSU fans during the game, it was breaking out that they were hiring Tom Herman at Kyle Field. So yeah, LSU, for a place that doesn't consider A&M their rival, if you're a coach at LSU, you better not be losing to your non-rival. That seems like. So look, Brian Kelly, what a tenure for him, man. Like, you come out in year one and you win the SEC West. Something A&M has never done in 14 years. 13, because 14 they might, even though there's no West. But something A&M has never done is advance to Atlanta. And you come and do it in year one. But there were signs, right? There were signs. That little finger across the upper lip stunt he pulled when he got hired, that dance he did, the fake accent, it never felt right. Then he came in and won. But then even at the end of that year, right, sign of things to come, when you get drilled by A&M at home with Jaden Daniels as your quarterback on your way to play for the SEC title, and that was a game that almost, it could have kept them out of the playoff. I don't know that they would have gotten in, but they were in a great position I think they were number 5 in the country when they came in here and lost 38-23. That's the game they couldn't tackle Devon A-Chain, and A&M O line just mowed them all over the field. So, that was, even in his best year, LSU fans were left with a pretty bad taste in their mouth there at the end of the regular season. So it just never got on his right footing. People said from the get-go it felt like it didn't feel like a fit. It didn't feel like the right hire. And he never could really get past that. He really couldn't with that fan base and with the decision makers there. And he just couldn't win enough to ever get past that because he really peaked in year one. I say this about LSU all the time, don't I? Since the Aggies have joined the SEC, this is year 14, LSU will finish the season with at least 3 losses. Now, that includes bowls. There were a couple of 10-2s in there, I believe. They have not finished a regular season or a season with less than 3 losses in 13 of the 14 years. One, of course, was the magical 2019, where they were an incredible team, one of the best teams ever. That's it. The other 13 years, they've lost at least 3 games. So I do think there's a little bit of a deal where LSU thinks they're something they're not. So it'll be interesting on the next hire, the level of expectation, because I think they want to be a national, not like a Nick Saban run, but at least like Georgia's done. But just, I think what they really are is they get such great players that they'll field a team that breaks through, and they have the ability to do that more than most because of the recruiting base there. When coaches like Ed O and Les Miles have won there, it kind of shows you what kind of job it is. It's not absolutely difficult. It's not as difficult as a lot of other ones. It's probably one of the top 5, I think, jobs in the country in terms of, hey, I want to win a national title. Where should I go? LSU would be a place because you could go. These 2 rock eaters won national titles there because you can get such good players there. But as far as like year in, year out, I just don't think they're one of those teams.
Billy, let's pretend like you're out of town, you didn't get to go to Baton Rouge, and there's a power outage, you're not able to watch the game. And somebody tells you that A&M has a first down snap where they lose 11 yards because there's miscommunication. Marcel's not looking at the snap. A block punt turns into a safety. A Marcel Reed pass intercepted in the end zone. A 3rd and 18 nullified because of where you stop LSU because of a penalty. And also they score a touchdown on that drive. They take the lead at halftime. Also, there's a chance to get an interception. Dalton Brooks drops it. Let's just say that's the information you get about A&M on the road at LSU. Would you have ever predicted that they would have won the game considering those kind of mistakes early on?
No, because usually, here's the thing, that I thought it was going to be a really close football game. I mean, look, the reality is we all picked A&M to win. We said before the game, Texas A&M's got a better coach. They've got a better quarterback. They've got better lines of scrimmage. And they've got better skill guys. So A&M absolutely should have won that game. They were the better team. But if you would have told me all that happened, my thought process would have been, if they're going to do all that, then it was going to be that kind of night. And then they would have been in for a dogfight and say, okay, maybe. But they're going to be kind of lucky to get out of there with a win if they're playing like that. Well, not true at all. Because somehow, and that's a credit to Elko and those players, that they got into halftime, and damn if they didn't not just fix it, but come out with a vengeance. I mean, the way they came out in that third quarter, that is hard to do in football. And I know, thank God for the halftime break, but to come out and completely dominate a football game. I think what won't get talked about enough is in that third quarter and that second half, It's offense, defense, and special teams. Obviously, we know what the special teams did with the long kickoff return and then the punt return. But it's all, and we know what the offense did. But defense in that second half, when you give up as much as they did, and I don't know what the numbers say, but just the way they moved the ball, LSU in the first half, they ran it fairly well. They hit a deep ball. They hit a couple of crossers. They had guys open and play design. Like, I know they had A&M had a few first half sacks as well, but LSU scored 18. Now, you gifted them the safety, but they essentially scored 17 points. And you gifted them 7 by keeping them on the field with that penalty, but they also followed that up by hitting that deep ball. So that was a bad first half of defense for the Aggies. And then they came back in the second half, and they gave up nothing, like 0. Literally 0 until the final 60 seconds there when they were up, 49 to 18, right? So they gave up nothing in the second half after giving up 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the first half. So that was just, they shut the faucet off and completely and totally dominated.
Is that the best quarter of Aggie football you've seen?
I mean, it's up there. I mean, look, just road game performance is one of the best I've ever seen. It's a game. So obviously there was a 10-minute stretch there where they were playing sloppy, shoot yourself in the foot football, but just the game result and where it was at, and at LSU, this was not. I said before the game, you could make them quit and get him fired. I didn't think we were going to see A&M make them quit that day. I thought we were going to see A&M beat them, and then they were going to quit the rest of the season. And I thought future opponents were going to get the benefit of A&M just ripping their souls out with one more L at home. But I didn't think A&M would make them quit in game. Their fans quit. They went home. Their players quit. Nussmeier walking off, yelling, whatever it was he said at Brian Kelly. That was the end of Kelly's tenure right there. They beat him, like you said, so badly. But when you look at that game, David, in its totality, because LSU they're ranked. They're a top 20 team before that game. You go on the road against a top 20 team, and it's a team in LSU that's a rival that used to give you hell. And now, by the way, the Aggies have won 3 out of 4. You had never won in that stadium, since joining the SEC. And where you're at as the number 3 team, to go in there at night and beat them 49 to what, 20, was it 25, 49-25, beat them by 4 scores. I think it was as good a game performance as A&M's had since they joined the SEC. Now you have to, that's factoring everything in. Like, I could watch a game and go, well, this team played better football, but that reminded me a lot of that Cotton Bowl in 2012, where you played a team where there's a lot of history and they've traditionally been better than you. And I'm not going all the way back to the RC era and prior. I'm going here since joining the conference, right? And it's a little different from the standpoint of A&M went out in the Big 12 and had only beaten OU like once in the last several years under Stoops. But a program that had given you problems, a program that's kind of been a measuring stick for A&M football for quite some time, and just to beat the brakes off of them to where, like, Brian Kelly and Bob Stoops, they were both ready for that game to be over in the second half. And it's really similar. The Aggies were up on OU 14-13 in that Cotton Bowl and then just blew them out. It's kind of a similar deal here. But to do it on the road in a place like that's considered one of the more daunting challenges in the sport, that it's as impressive a win as Texas A&M's had outside of the 2, times you beat number 1 Bama. it's as impressive a win as they've had, in my opinion. Just the way they did it and kind of all the other things you mix in there. It's hard to say, right? Because I want to talk about, like, Marcel Reed and the stuff he's doing, and you always caveat it because you're like, maybe there's got to be like a Johnny, Mike, Swope, that era, Sumlin team, that particular team, 2012, somewhere in there that I'm forgetting. I have to think about it. But, and the way Marcel's playing right now, you know, if there's one quarterback that was here for 2 years that I think has played at a higher level over an extended period of time. And I'm not saying, like, there's been more, you know, I'm tired of people worrying about it, but yeah, like there's been guys that are, you know, they're throwing the ball better, or they're, you know, they're doing whatever. But over this period of time, this length of time, so it's really, let's just count this season even, but I just don't know outside of Johnny that I've seen an A&M quarterback play better football over an extended stretch. And the other night, for him to throw 2 picks in the first half, and just he never looked phased, right? He never looked phased by it. To throw 2 picks in the first half and bounce back and play the way he did after that, it's spectacular. And 200 passing or 100 rushing, 4 touchdowns, and 400 yards, 397 on the road at Notre Dame, a couple touchdowns, including the game winner on 4th and 11 with 13 seconds left. I mean, this guy has had, you know, when he's in the spotlight, he has played at a Heisman Trophy winning level. And I said to you yesterday, his resume is as good as any candidate in college football. And I'll say the same thing, because remember, it's not about stats. It's about stats and moments and just how special a player you are. And when you factor in moments and team success versus expected team success, this guy's resume is as good as anyone's competing for this award. And just like I'll say the same thing about Texas A&M, the resume is better than Ohio State. It's better than Indiana. I don't know if it was Clay Travis today or whoever it was that I retweeted that said the same thing. Their resume, and you can go off strength of record, but their resume is better than anyone's in college football right now. And do I think they're better than Ohio State? No, but I also think Ohio State's an interesting football team right now. What's their best thing they've done?
Beat Texas.
Yeah. You know, Texas this is the same team, and I see the folks in Austin getting really they're getting a little delusional right now. I think they're doing this. I saw somebody say, "Man, if you get us past Vandy this week and watch out, things are going to get real interesting." Yeah, they're going to get really interesting. You're going to go play at Georgia. You're going to play A&M, and there's a game against Arkansas sandwiched in between. They're going to get really interesting against Arkansas because this team just took a virtual miracle to beat Mississippi State, and they took a horrific coaching decision to beat Kentucky. I think they're losing sight when they should be thinking to themselves, damn, Billy was right. These road games in the SEC are brutal. We can barely get out of Mississippi State that's lost 15 in a row, and Kentucky that's probably the worst team in the conference. And we're lucky to beat those 2 teams in back-to-back weeks. But instead, they're looking ahead and starting to pencil themselves into Atlanta and the college football playoffs. So it's delusional over there right now. That's for damn sure.
Billy, let's hit a break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about KC. I want to talk to you about the line of scrimmage and Cassius Howell, all that and more. Right now, we're hitting a break. Let's talk about Paragon Financial Advisors. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients across Texas with no sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA, all on staff. These folks take credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel really good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
You know, I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas, it's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. Executive Editor, co-owner Billy Liucci here on TexAgs. Billy, I picked out this tweet. I think you retweeted it. It's from Luke Evangelos. A&M has owned the line of scrimmage in their last 4 SEC games. The O-line has given up 0 sacks. The defensive line's got 18 sacks. It is a line of scrimmage league. It's a line of scrimmage game, and A&M right now owning it.
Yep, no question about it, man. I think I said it a couple weeks ago, and it's continued. I think the only times where A&M winning the line of scrimmage were in question. They're 8-0 in 16 halves. I mean, in 16 games with 2 sides of the ball in 8 games, so 16 chances there. The only times I think A&M has not won the line of scrimmage, maybe the Notre Dame O-line versus the A&M D-line, where Notre Dame didn't run wild, but they had a lot of points and yards. And then the only other time in question would be like, hey, Auburn had 4 sacks in that game, but the Aggie offensive line, the A&M ran for 210 yards in that one. So I certainly wouldn't give the Auburn defensive front a win there, but maybe that one was a push. That's it in 16 opportunities. In other words, what I'm getting at is almost every week this season, Texas A&M has won both lines of scrimmage.
Billy, how about KC? And I forget what the total numbers were for KC, but just in general, the punt return, the ability to get extra yardage when he catches the ball, his ability to be the strongest guy on the field, it feels like when he gets tackled, he goes through guys. Game changer. That punt return to me was the point in the game. I'm like, A&M's not losing this. Like I never felt like they were going to lose it, even when they were down 18 to 14. I was like, they're still going to win this game, but I was just angry about how we got there. But to me, that was like the exclamation point. We're moving on.
Oh, no question. That ended it. That broke LSU's spirit without question. But I tell you what, if they would have connected on some deep balls earlier in the season, just for his pure numbers, people would have him in the Heisman discussion as well, because that dude is a touchdown machine. And we know what he and Craver have meant and have done to turn this, really just change everything about this program. They really have, if you think about it. I mean, they really have, just because it's opened up so much for this offense and for what Colin Klein can do and what it means for Marcel Reed, what it means for the running game. And then also, obviously what it means for the Aggie defense.
I also think, and you talked about on Luchador, but I'll take it from a different angle. The video of Cassius Howell after his first sack and the emotion, the anger, the just what that moment meant to me. That's going to be a clip that we're going to go back and hopefully we'll look back at this season with like the greatest season we've seen in our lifetime. And we'll look at it as like being one of those signature moments of the year. I think Marcel's first touchdown run in that game, but there's been others too. That Cassius Howell anger and that first sack. I got my first one.
From being an elite team. Yeah, no question. I mean, Cassius is a tone setter for this defense and this football team, and Texas A&M is playing a physical style of ball that it's on a different level than what they've been doing. So you can match in all this finesse, all this scoring, all these skill guys. This is as physical a football team as there is in the SEC right now. It's the only way you can win, and that's why they keep winning.
Is that David Nuño in the background?
Hey, Lucy, it's SEC this morning.
No.
Oh, I thought I heard myself. Billy, the Bo Pribula injury from Missouri, and look, we've got the entire bye week and next week to focus on Missouri, but I saw a report last night that is not as severe, slightly less serious than expected, that he could play at the end of this year at some point. I'm not expecting him against A&M, but who knows? You know how these injuries are and how close the coaches play things to the vest, and sometimes I think there's a little gamesmanship because if They don't want what happened to Florida State a couple years ago to happen to Missouri in a potential situation where they win a couple games, but they're without their quarterback. That all being said, you're early, 9-10 days away from the Missouri game. Thoughts about it? That was good talk. Okay, Billy. I think we lost him. I think we lost Billy Liucci. Maybe we can try him again because it's almost time to go to a break. Let me introduce Ella Ryan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Billy's been talking. I know the texts have been coming in. I'm sure there's been a thought or two that people are going to be ready to chat about. Yeah, this is one that I don't know if your mic is on. There we go.
Sorry, my bad.
All good.
It said, anyone else surprised EJ didn't get more touches? Based on how LSU defense was playing, I thought we would have had EJ run more to beat them up.
I didn't really think about it. What I've thought about this team is that they're going to divvy up the plays, and they've got their formula that works for them with how they pass the ball to which receivers, the tight ends, the rotation, and also the running backs. And it was that way before Le'Veon got hurt. They'd be like, oh man, Le'Veon had just a great series. Why is he out? Why is it Ruben's turn? Well, they've got their formula, and it seems to be working. And when you look at the stats, pretty much all the games, like you'll see it, fairly even. I'm looking at A&M right now. Marcel led the way with his 108, but Ruben with 44, Jamarian Morrow with 26, Amari Daniels with 23. You had Craver with 19. You had TK Norman who had that one. He pick up 13 yards on that third down. So and obviously he's not a running back, but they're splitting it up significantly. What else?
I'm just laughing. People are making fun of Billy. They're saying he's ordering food, and the best part of the interview is when the call drops. They're just laughing at Billy.
And I'm over here just talking to him like, oh, yeah, Billy, what do you think about this? I don't remember the last thing I asked him.
Yeah, I don't either. This is a different one. Okay. I really think Tommy Moffitt has been the reason for their success over the past decade, talking about LSU, and then said, Les and Coach O were barely competent, and they still won natties. We need to keep Tommy.
Oh, yeah. Keep Tommy. And now with LSU, here, do whatever you... I hope over the next 10 days, 7 days, 3 days, 24 hours, they figure out a way to extend Coach Elko, right? And also do whatever you can do to keep Tommy Moffitt around, because now that LSU is going to go in a different direction, they're going to be calling Tommy Moffitt again, right? Whoever they hire to be their next coach, they're going to call and try to get Tommy Moffitt. So keep him, keep this entire staff here. All right, when we come back, I think we're going to have Jason Jack in studio. I believe he'll be here for that. One thing that I want to get to this show, if not now, later, I saw a commentary on the YouTube page that got me thinking about Brian Kelly being a phony and kind of like Jimbo was a phony or a fraud, I think is the word that they use. And I don't know if that they were a fraud. I think there's a new world of college football that some of the older guys have not adapted to. And I think Dabo Swinney's one of those dudes, and there are others that are going to be exposed. And I think when you move to the SEC, where every week really matters, like Lincoln Riley, he's now in the Big Ten. He might be exposed there. Had he stayed in the SEC, had he stayed with Oklahoma in the move to the SEC, I think he might have been. And he didn't have the success as some of these other guys have had. But I think that there's just been this evolution of the way the game is coached, the way the game is played. And I don't know if those guys have evolved with it. In fact, there's not that I don't know. I know they haven't evolved with it. So that's an interesting point. We'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, I think we'll have Jason Jack here on the show. Let's talk about Milliken Reserve now. Farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They're committed to treading lightly on the land that you can find Milliken Reserve on, creating a sanctuary for family, for nature, and for community. They've got 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails, and they have homes. They've got respect for the native landscape and, of course, that wildlife. And they have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that has walking paths, equestrian paths, creeks and ponds, and gathering areas. And when you go there, just know that if you become a homeowner at Milliken Reserve, you're going to share in a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. It is Milliken Reserve, the place to go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it. Check it out at millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We've got Jason Jack in studio, played defensive line for the Aggies in the early 2000s, and he was just on our tailgate show a couple weeks back. He's in town for, is it Amplify U?
Yeah, it's the Amplify U program that's held through Mays Business School.
Yeah, and you do it every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I've done it back in the past, probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And so they reached, now being with Merrill, they actually reached out to Merrill to do some similar things with the financial education presentations. But at that same time, I was in conversations with the director. And so whenever they presented to her of, hey, this is what we want to do, you know, she was like, I want Jason Jack to be a part of it. And so
That's
it actually
awesome,
kind
man.
of just matched up perfectly.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm happy you're here. Let's talk about your viewing experience on Saturday. Where'd you watch the game from? And just kind of tell me your emotions throughout, because there was a lot to be excited about, a little ticked off at halftime, and then the explosion of the third quarter.
Yeah, I was hanging out with my daughter for the majority of the time. She decided to have some friends over and take them to main event, and they didn't have the game on. So I was listening to it on my phone at first, and I was like, babe, we got to go because I need to watch the game. So I dropped off at home, and I went to go watch at like the nearest bar called The Draft, which has all the games on there. So I caught it at probably right at the end of second.
Oh, when the things were going south.
Yeah, when the things are going south. No, this Texas A&M team is resilient. What I noticed the biggest difference is when we had Kevin Sumlin, and I forgot the coach after that, is we would have really good first quarters, second quarters, like we were a one-half team. So I really wasn't down just because the way we've been playing this year, and like statistically on offense and defense, we're been doing very well. And so I wasn't really too emotional about it. I mean, having been playing the sport, it is a lot different watching it from the outside because you are tied into the game, like, man, the ups and downs.
Right.
But in the game, it's just like you got to stay focused because you got to play 4 quarters, right? So I was excited, but then, I mean, I was excited when we made the plays, but I was never really down when we weren't making plays that we should have made. Right?
To me, it's like you go to Baton Rouge, where you haven't won since '94. You make all these mistakes that usually cost teams games. But it was A&M that was the old school LSU team in that game. We're like, we have more talent, we're more physical than you, we're better than you, and we're going to strangle you. And they did that in the third quarter, 35 unanswered points.
Yeah, that's what you do. That first half of playing football is really trying to get your game plan together to see what works and what doesn't work. So really the second half and the fourth quarter is going to be most important. So how you finish is going to be more important than how you start in a lot of times, because you're going to go to halftime, make your adjustments, reevaluate what you've been doing poorly, and come out and punch them in the face and play football. And that's what happened. So and that's what you like to see. That's what a top tier team is. I mean, even if you look at the old teams of Alabama that were number one, that had 4 5-star recruits at every position. A lot of times they didn't blow teams out. They just played a full, complete game,
right?
Which we still have, I feel, yet to play a full, complete game, and still have been able to be at the 8-0 and statistically been a pretty good producing team.
You talked about finishing. At this point of the year last year, they were 7-1, and they couldn't finish, right? Some of it was injuries, and some of it was you took on better teams, and they just hadn't grown to what they are. It feels different this year for multiple reasons. I think that just the culture, now this is year 2 of the Tommy Moffitt way, the Mike Elko way, right? And they have that focus to finish it. So to you, like, what feels different about it?
I would say culture for the most part. And I'm always trying to do a comparison of teams, because you never know what's going on internally with these programs. Speaking specifically from my experience playing here, that's what they wanted you to preach was, hey man, our culture is different. Like, we're different. But at the end of the day, we really weren't. Like, we wasn't a really cohesive team.
It was just a statement.
It was just a statement compared to actually really being, internal, fundamental part that we utilize. And so what I feel about this team is, when I came here earlier, I was like, it depends on how they mesh and things of that nature. What I do feel like the biggest difference in comparisons collectively throughout those entire years is our quarterback play, right? And I think that Marcel Reed is a great kid. He's a part of that program. I've actually talked to him a couple of times, and I'm just very impressed how he is off the field, coming from a coach's kid. And I don't want to speak poorly on quarterbacks that I've played with or have known, but I haven't met too many guys who I would consider have the off-field ability with the on-field talent of what they bring to the table. And so I think his leadership is really one of those things that are going to lead a team in regards to the culture of the team,
right?
And also those key players on defense as well. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I see is the culture of the quarterback play of how his attitude is, not only on the field but off the field too. That's really important, man. It's college football is bigger than stats and statistics.
Yeah.
Right. The biggest thing right now is who's the best quarterback in the NFL? Who would you want? And you look at Jalen Hurts, who's a magnificent leader, who guys are going to fall behind.
He wills his team, right?
Yeah, he will, and that's what I feel like Marcel Reed has, that ability. Might not be as outspoken, but like that's who I would measure him up to.
Right.
In regards to, hey, we're not looking at him really at the Heisman and all that. Although he should be a
he's
good
a candidate right now.
He should be he should be a good candidate right now. But before like starting off, I don't think that people would have really thought, well, he's probably been on a watch list and all that. But A&M was one of those teams like, hey, you guys do well, but you always kind of fall off. But now, man, he's lived up to that hype, right? And so being a coach's kid, man, it's really gonna all fall on him of his leadership. So I believe himself and the leaders on the team make the biggest difference.
All right, let's talk defense for a moment, because 18 sacks in the last 4 SEC games. You've got Cassius Howell just terrorizing fools. They had 7 sacks in this past game. That pressure, especially when you can tell me about this, when you play with a lead, the way a defensive line can get after a quarterback is a little bit different than when the game is tight.
Yeah, it's all with coaching. When you're more relaxed, when you play with the lead. I mean, it just really depends, because a lot of times I believe coaches sometimes hold back or doing the things that help them get the lead, and they try, instead of trying to win, they try not to lose.
Yeah.
Right, from a defensive standpoint. Cassius Howell is a monster. Does he have 10 sacks? Or I think that's what
How many total sacks does he have, Nick, on the year? He had 7 coming in. He had 2, so is it 9? Is he 10? No, I think he had 8 coming in. So
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where he is on the leaderboard, but 10 sacks in 8 games. I mean, he's a stud, man. Like I'm impressed. And so defensively, it is
9.5 sacks.
Yeah, 9.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Okay. And so defensively, it's always better to play with the lead. But you can't call off those dogs, and that's what I think we have this year. Like we have some dogs on that defense. I like it,
and we got some dogs at wide receiver too, right?
Oh yeah, man. I love that Conception kid, man. It's just like he's good, man. In that, and then winning on special teams too. That's going to be important.
That changed. I mean, I felt they were going to win the game, but once Casey had that touchdown on that punt return, like this is a wrap. But
yeah, it's a wrap. It's like those are those little things that kind of get you over the hump and make sure that you're playing a full, complete game.
Yeah.
Right.
Jason, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you very much.
Man, I appreciate it.
Jason Jack here in studio. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. 9 o'clock hour, Marty Smith is going to join us. Trey Wallace is going to join us. OB for the entire 10 o'clock hour. We'll do the go hour then. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggie Land, or you are already in Aggie Land and looking for a great opportunity, check out the Association of Former Students that likes to hire professionals to join their team. And their positions open in several departments. Sometimes you'll find them in fundraising, communication, sales, marketing, you name it. They are the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials, Aggie Reading Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Tab Bentz, friend of the show, texts me that LSU just fired their offensive coordinator. Who do they have left?
I don't even know.
Right? Like, I know that Arkansas, when they made Petrino, they fired the entire defensive staff and they brought in new people. Is that what LSU? I don't know what they're going to do, but very interesting about that. Yeah, Blake Baker's still around. Thank you, Caden. He's still there. Maybe he gets to be the head coach, and this is his audition, the Bobby Petrino audition. Although I think LSU is going to go big game fishing. And I was asking the crew this during the break, or one of the breaks: do we want Lane Kiffin at LSU or Florida? Does it matter to us? And I think there's only two answers to that. It doesn't matter because we got Mike Elko. That's how I feel about it. That being said, I would prefer every program to hire a coach that doesn't work out. That would be my guess. If I were to just ask out loud, hopefully the LSU, Scott Woodward, was texting me. Hopefully, if he's allowed to hire the next coach, because I think he's on the hot seat as well. By the way, I did not cover Scott when he was the AD at A&M. I did meet him before, and I went to his house with some folks. Very nice guy. But he hasn't done great with hiring football coaches. And he also helped get Jimbo Fisher a raise. You know how much, and I don't know if they're still paying Ed O. I assume they are, but I have the notes here. If you do the math between Brian Kelly and Coach O, LSU is paying $73 million in buyout money. Jimbo was given, he's going to make his 76. It's kind of right there, except it feels like A&M got it right with Coach Elko. And now LSU is on to another coach. So from Les Miles to Ed O, who did win a national championship, but that was kind of that was an outlier and was a dysfunctional program, to Brian Kelly, who was never a great fit and flirted with greatness year one, but got humbled quickly at Kyle Field and got humbled in his last game as well. We'll hit a break. When we come back, Marty Smith of ESPN will join us. We'll chit-chat with Marty. And after that, Trey Wallace of Outkick. That and more. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is now time for our weekly segment with Marty Smith, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy Sports and Outdoors honors the military and first responders for all that you do. And from October the 19th through November the 11th, they're showing their thanks with 10% off at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions do apply. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Marty Smith from ESPN joins us. Marty, good morning, buddy.
Hey, boss. Good morning. I know you guys are good. I don't have to ask. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thank you. You did it again, Marty. You got a hat that I want to have. Where'd you get this one?
A buddy of mine actually gave me this hat. My buddy Wynn. He bought a couple of them and had me in mind for one of them. I just love that concept that we spend a lot of time in this life worrying. And the scripture tells us not to do that, and it's the human condition to do that. And so I just think that concept of faith over fear is it's a really smart and succinct way to approach things. Because I worry too much about what? Stuff that doesn't matter.
You know what, Marty? I'm the same way, man. That's a great way to start the show. You know what I don't fear? After last Saturday, I don't fear a halftime deficit at Baton Rouge anymore because this A&M football team, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm watching the game happen, and the fan in me gets a little angry at halftime. I'm like, we're the better team. We're kicking their butts, but we're losing. Like, we're giving this game away. Man, they took that game from LSU in the third quarter.
Yeah, the second half performance. I mean, I said here last week that that's one of the hardest places to play in the world, and it is. And in that second half, it was such a complete performance and dominant performance by Texas A&M in all three phases. Cassius Howell was hell-bent for leather, unblockable, talking that smoke and backing it up. You're returning, kicks for touchdowns. You're moving the football down the field offensively. And, watching Marcel Reed use his legs to create throwing lanes Saturday night was impressive. I felt like that was a bit of an evolution for him. He was playing with incredible confidence. And in talking to McGee, who was down there with Marcel last week in College Station for a piece he did, seems like a confident young man. I've not met him yet. So very impressed with him, as you know. I just love his skill set. Obviously, fantastic history in the game, incredibly athletic family, and a great leader for that team. It looked like he was having so much fun in the second half, smiling with his guys, and they just seemed like they knew exactly what to do and how to execute at a very high level. They're a problem. And I feel like it's a broken record, but kudos to Coach Elko and the staff. They are just doing a fantastic job of there's an expectation at Texas A&M. When you have those resources, when every year you have a top recruiting class, when you're doing well getting portal kids over, and then it always feels like something doesn't live up to that potential. And man, are they doing it this year in a league that is so hard, and there's so much parity in the league now. And nationally, for that matter, there's so much parity. So just an incredible job by everybody down there on that staff.
Marty, excuse the history lesson, but just I don't know how much you know about the Tommy Moffitt part of this story.
Oh, I do. I heard Coach Elko's comment.
Yeah. But I
heard his comment, and it's not he said it last year too.
Yeah.
So I do know the history of this, and I would imagine that there's some real validation for some people in those second half performances, which is often where the weight room really reveals itself, is those fourth quarter battles that are really physical. Who wins those? That's what Georgia, Alabama, that's what those schools pride themselves on in the Scott Cochran era, who was one of those foundational pieces in making the strength coach such an important, they've always been important, but now they're not just building physical strength, David. They're building emotional strength in these young men. They're a true conduit to the day-to-day experiences. Everybody's got stuff. All of us got stuff we're going through, and certainly 19 and 20-year-old young men who feel like they have the weight of entire fan bases and thereby the world on their shoulders are going through stuff. And these strength coaches hear it all, and they help walk these young men through it, and they're a great conduit to the head coach. Hey, this guy's going through this, that guy's going through that, his girlfriend, his parents. And so they're imperative in the overall paradigm of a program. And, I mean, Coach Moffitt's one of the greatest to ever do it.
Talking to Marty Smith here on TexAgs Live. Marty, last week, and even after the game, I'm watching this game happen. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think they can fire Brian Kelly because of what he's owed. But that game felt like a fireable game. And then they did it. Were you surprised by that?
Yes. I was surprised by it. And everything in this life is context. And he said he came there to win national championships. He left Notre Dame to go to Baton Rouge to win national championships. And his math was not easy because, as I'm sure you've already discussed this morning, Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Ed Orgeron all did it by their third season. And so that's difficult math. Like that is a very high expectation. And that is the expectation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is we get the best players, we win national championships. And Coach Kelly was unable to make the playoff during his tenure in Baton Rouge. And then you see, for me, watching it very intently on Saturday night, seeing the sideline demeanor with certain players, the interaction with Garrett Nussmeier, all of those things started to give an indication that it felt like it had reached another level. But I'm in a world where we are fools to be surprised by anything. I was surprised.
So there's like 11 real big jobs open right now.
I don't know. I mean, I look at this and I will tell you, I'm in the middle of texting people that I know well throughout the entire landscape, coast to coast, this morning. And the fact that there aren't just jobs open. These aren't just jobs. This is LSU, Florida, Penn State. We're talking about tradition. In fact, one of them is calling me right now. We're talking about traditional, powerhouse, well-heeled, great talent programs that are now in the job market, and really great brands who've been down on their luck. Like Arkansas is a great place. I'm a Virginia Tech guy. Virginia Tech's a great place. And they got to get these hires right. But the more that we see, and this is a conversation you and I can have right now, and your viewership and listenership, I would love to know what everybody, I feel like the more, because this isn't done. I don't know if diluted's the right word, but like there is a sense of urgency now for these programs to make these hires fast, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's great jobs open all over the country and coveted positions. So what do? Do you make the coordinator hire? Do you take one of these guys that's on the market that's proven or has done well elsewhere, that it didn't work at this place or that place? And I'm reading this morning just like you are. Everybody is throwing names out left and right. We don't know anything. So it's just, I wonder the why. Like, why are we here? And you figure it's this confluence of all of the NIL, all of the portal, 12-team playoff. The playoff has now become the goal. And yeah, you want to win natties, but the playoff. And when you have programs that have been built from the ground, like Indiana, like Vanderbilt, like Georgia Tech, and I mean the ground, bro. Mm-hmm. Competitive irrelevance to playoff contention in a couple years. There is no waiting. Patience is there is no patience.
Marty, it makes me think too. I did a few minutes on this earlier. That the old guard has not evolved with college football the way Lane Kiffin has evolved, right? So like Jimbo, Brian Kelly, Dabo, and there's others that like they were a few years ago. They were the brand names, but the game has passed them by, and I don't know if it's on the field completely. I think some of it is the off the field part of it that has then in turn affected the on the field part.
Lane Kiffin said something to me, David. I wrote a book a couple years ago, shameless plug, called Sideline CEO, and I interviewed all these coaches. I've probably talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin was one of those coaches. And my criteria for interviewing these people was that they were champions. And, of course, Lane became a champion as Nick Saban's OC, right? And he's such a fascinating mind that I wanted his wisdom in this book. And with every coach that I talked to, the number one thing, they told me the number one pillar in leadership is trust. You know what Lane Kiffin told me?
What's that?
It's talent. And he said, talent is what separates. And then once you are able to accrue it, trust comes with time. Look at Matt Corral. Look at Jackson Dart. Lane is so relatable to these young men. They don't just see an authority figure. They see a brother. They see somebody who they can cut up with. And they also see somebody, for quarterbacks specifically, who is such an offensive savant that they believe, they know he's going to put them in a position to be successful. Whether that you even look at, this is an aside, I'm sorry, this is the attention deficit part of my life. Austin Simmons had a touchdown. He just missed the throw. Like Lane Kiffin puts him in the game. I think it was second and goal, might have been first and goal, whatever it was. They run RPO. Defense collapses. He just happened to miss the throw. But it was the perfect play call. And so these young men know this. And I found that to be a fascinating answer by him. And so guys that you mentioned that previously, they want developmental programs, which I, as a man and a father, admire. Today's college football is transactional. It's transactional. It's pay for play. And so that's that patience piece of it. You have to develop them so fast within the system that you want to run. And that is a hard thing to do, man. Again, it's why, like, Coach Elko is so no BS. He is so direct and doesn't seem to do this. He seems to just do this. They have a plan. He's hired great coordinators. He lets those coordinators do his job. He delegates to them. And it's just really, and he has talent. Crazy talent everywhere. Look how great y'all did in the portal. It could be argued. I mean, the quarterback at Indiana is doing really well. He may be in New York. But you'd be hard-pressed to find two guys better than KC and Mario in terms of their contribution in 2025 to the overall scope of a team. And so just incredibly impressive in today's world.
Marty, I'll even take that a step further. The last 2 years, Cassius Howell, a transfer. Armaje Reed-Adams on the offensive line, a transfer. Nate Workature is a name that maybe a lot of people nationally don't know. The tight end who caught the game-winning pass against Notre Dame, right? Like, he came from Nebraska, a guy that didn't have a lot of
who was considered a blocker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, like, it's not just getting talent, and I agree with Lane, it is about talent, but getting the right talent that fits your system. And that's what I think has been impressive about Coach Elko.
Yeah. Oh, me too. And you guys live Texas A&M athletics. I follow it closely enough because of the SEC piece. I think that if I'm wrong, I would love to know when he had a better game. I feel like Saturday night was Howell's, like, Hello America party. I feel like he really announced himself to the country. You're talking about prime time, huge brands, undefeated team. Even before he got fired, Brian Kelly's name was, kind of being floated out there. And so to have that kind of performance where, like, literally unblockable all night long, wreaking so much havoc, he flew off the screen, man.
He did, man, and he's and that video of him just chomping at the bit after that.
Yeah,
first sack,
just talking it.
Yeah,
that's going to be his like if this team goes on to have that uber special season that certainly looks plausible and attainable at this point. That moment is going to live forever in College Station, Texas, for Aggies, because it's just it embodies that we aren't going to be denied type of personality. And man, just an immeasurably great performance.
Marty, before I let you go, look, a lot of this stuff is going to sort itself out. But there's a lot of teams that have one loss. There's some undefeated teams in the SEC, right? Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, there's going to be some carnage, right? Georgia's going to play Texas, and Vandy plays Texas this weekend. And, I guess there's some teams theoretically, mathematically still that can get in. But, like, I look at Tennessee. I think Ole Miss is a slam dunk for the playoffs. How many freaking teams are going to make the playoffs from the SEC, knowing that 4, maybe 5 is the most? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on it. Now, there are some really tough games ahead for some really good teams. And people can stub their toe and maybe not have the performance that they expected to have, or another team plays perfectly in all 3 phases, whatever that is. But we also have to remember that a lot of teams are beat up. And so are you going to be able to put it together every single Saturday to achieve that? But I mean, Vanderbilt, this weekend's not going to be easy. Like, it's not. We'll be there for SEC Nation and Marty McGee. I look forward to seeing that one. It's going to be super intense. Vandy still has to go to Neyland Stadium on Thanksgiving weekend, right? That Tennessee is good, dude. I mean, their offense is prolific. And so those are hard. Like, there's a lot of very difficult matchups ahead for a lot of these teams. And so, yeah, I mean, 4 would be a great statement for the league.
Marty, what's the latest with the podcast? Never Settle.
We're actually kind of relaunching it a little bit here. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson and I are in the workings now of relaunching it, and we have great guests already in the can. And look forward. We have a lot of guests coming up. Some famous people, some very acclaimed athletes, and so we're really bullish on where it's going. So it's called Never Settle. Y'all check it out, and we'll have a lot more information here coming very soon.
Marty, I appreciate you, sir. Talk to you next week.
Always. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
You too, brother. Marty Smith there on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Come back, open segment, followed by Trey Wallace of Outkick. Right now, we're talking about the Daily Company. They're a family-owned, licensed, and insured business that offers HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and generator services that are available to you 24/7. On the HVAC side of things, they've got the thermostat repairs, they've got the refrigerant leaks, they've got the furnace failures and the seasonal tune-ups. Plumbing-wise, they'll take care of your leaks, your clogged drains, your water heater installation, and maintenance to keep those pipes into top shape. Electrical wiring, outlet repairs, and upgrades for safety and efficiency, and generator services as well, with maintenance and installation to prepare for any power outages that possibly could happen. They serve all of Bryan College Station, Houston, and Austin. Upfront pricing with no surprises. Contact the Daily Company now, 979-2060-2020. That is 979-260-2020, or visit them at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. little intimate, private conversation between us, the viewers, the listeners, and the people who work at TexAgs. We got like 4 or 5 minutes to play with. So if you guys want to call in, you can. 979-693-1150. That's the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. I'm going to ask the group, the panel, okay? Nick Savage, who hasn't said a word yet because he's been angry at me, and Ella Ryan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Why did A&M beat LSU? I want to give an answer. I want to raise my hand and answer my own question. But I just, let's go around the room and just give a couple of reasons why.
Because they were better.
I like that one,
That's
Nick.
probably the answer. Yep.
No, just kidding. I think Marcel Reed. I mean, the better quarterback, clearly. That's why do I keep doing that? I keep messing
We love
up.
holistic planning.
Yeah, I do. We do.
We're going to plan holistically.
Yeah. I mean, Marcel Reed obviously is the big, obvious answer, but it's surprising. They lost the turnover battle. We talked about this during the fourth quarter. By the way, I love that's the most relaxed I've ever seen you watching an Aggie football game in that fourth quarter.
You weren't there when I walked in at halftime.
Yeah.
When I walked in at halftime, you can ask Richard and Kay. Kay's right behind you, right?
Yeah, Kay, she just said you missed the second half or the second quarter. So it says.
Yeah, I walked in at halftime. So I watched the first. What I try to do when I don't travel with the team, and I'm going to Missouri, but when I travel. When I don't travel, I like to watch the first half with my kids and my wife, and then I come to the office at halftime and we watch it as a group. And I walked in I want to use a word that I don't know if I'm allowed to use, ticked off, okay? I was ticked off.
It's my understanding you like to practice a little bit of Spanish when things aren't going A&M's way.
I say something out loud and I finish it with madre, okay? I say that a lot. Right, and I was like,
"That's my favorite one."
Pluto, madre, like the planet of Pluto, right? I say it out loud several times, like angry because I'm like, we are better than this freaking team at every facet, and we're losing at halftime. We're giving it away. I think I said it like that too, and I followed it up with some Spanish terms. The reason we won that game is the one sentence that you said, Nick. We're the better team. Now take it out. How are you the better team program, all that, right? Because there's been times that A&M's had the more talent on the field and lost games, right? A&M had more talent. A&M had the better coach. A&M had the better mentality. A&M was physically more gifted. They were just flat out better in every area. The only area they weren't better was turnovers, right? Well, they had more turnovers, so there's that. And A&M, and like in that game, you can look at every game that they played this season, and like remember the UTSA game afterwards. Like, they were, we beat them because we're just better physically, more gifted. But like, I don't know about the defense. Can they stop the run? Everything was stopped in the LSU game. Halftime happened. Coach Elko said what he had to say, and LSU just got knocked out. It was Mike Tyson, Michael Spinks. Nobody in this studio knows what I'm talking about. You should Google that fight sometime. It was 93 seconds. It was a wrap. And A&M did in 93 seconds, basically a football time, what Mike Tyson did to Michael Spinks back in 1990, whatever, right? All right, let's go to the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. Freddie, chit-chat a little bit about Aggie sports. Freddie, welcome to TexAgs Live.
Senor David, how are you, sir?
¿Cómo está, señor?
Muy bien, muy bien. It's me, from your buddy from Insta.
What's up, Freddie? Talk to us, buddy.
Hey, no, dude, I just want to say, it's important that, we talk about Brian Kelly getting fired and everything, but can we just talk about how cathartic it is to finally beat LSU in Tiger Stadium after everything we've been through, with Sherman and Sumlin, and at least Jimbo won here at Kyle Field, but it's just awesome to finally get that monkey off our back.
I think you're exactly right, but I'm going to take it a step further, Freddie. I'm hoping that's just part of the story. That's not the climax, right? Pardon for the reference, but hopefully there is a lot more that we are looking back at that's part of the journey, right? Winning they finally won it. It's kind of like we look at the Notre Dame game, right? In the moment, the Notre Dame game was such a big deal. You won on the road, top 10 team, hadn't done that in forever. Just keep breaking down barriers. They said you can't win on the road. Okay. They said you can't win on the road against the top 10 team. Boom. They said you can't win in Baton Rouge. They say you can't make the playoffs. You can't make the SEC championship game. They said you have been in the SEC for 14 years and not won it. Hopefully all those stories are, these are just little bits and pieces of what can happen at Texas A&M, Freddie?
100%. And I am, for one, I'm excited. I made a joke with Carter, or I forget his last name. I think he's one of the rivals or something, whatever. Anyways,
you brought up a competitor on TexAgs, Freddie? Come on, brother. I'm just kidding.
Come on, man. Well, you didn't ask, what game am I'm most afraid of this year, and I made the joke with him. I was all like, the national championship game. And looking back on it, if I can find that tweet, I'll send it to you. But it was just like, oh, God, that might actually end up becoming true.
Well, let's hope so. And the way this team is playing, I like their chances against anybody, especially when they come in focused like they did in Baton Rouge. Freddie, I got to hit a break, man. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Later, man. Freddie on the TexAgs Live Puppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Trey Wallace on the other side from Outkick. No reason for me to use an accent there. There was absolutely zero reason for me to use that. Let's talk about Rollo Insurance. They are a group that builds lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying for and the why behind it. So it's that time of year. In fact, Elizabeth brought it up to me on Sunday that we've got to call Morgan up and figure out what 2026 is going to look like, right? Because I think the way our cycle kind of ends, it's like right around now. So we got to figure out what the next year looks like. And Morgan's already reached out to us before we reached out to him because that's how he operates. But they are fantastic at Rollo Insurance. They're going to make sure that you know exactly what you're buying, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. If it's car insurance, if it's home insurance, ramp insurance, start a conversation with a real expert that becomes your ally, your friend. Call up Rollo Insurance at 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Our buddy Trey Wallace joining us here from Outkick. What's up, Trey?
Just another weekend in college football, buddy. Another coach fired. It is what it is, man. It's good to join you, my brother.
Well, it's interesting. I started the show off with Billy, and we were talking about like when A&M plays LSU, interesting things happen with coaches. Les Miles is not fired, and he's kept around in 2015. I had forgotten that Ed O basically became the head coach because of what happened in 2016, right? And then in 2021, they were, 4-8, and A&M should win, and Max Johnson destroys them, and he leaves, as a parade. And now Brian Kelly gets fired after A&M put a thumping on them. So just how's A&M in the middle of all these crossroads?
I mean, congratulations. I mean, they take over a stadium. The LSU students start a fire Brian Kelly chant during the game. It's picked all over national television. The post-game scene is Texas A&M students taking over the LSU student section. Everything just came together Saturday night in such a wild and monumental way for LSU's downfall. I mean, coming off the loss to Vanderbilt is one thing. Getting thrashed in the second half by Texas A&M, that's another. And that's when you had boosters starting making phone calls in that third quarter, being like, you know what? It's time. We got to do something. Let's meet. Staff changes aren't going to be enough, even though Brian Kelly probably thought they were heading into that meeting with Scott Woodward on Sunday morning. But looking back on it now, I don't know what kind of voodoo you guys have over what's going on in Baton Rouge, but you've certainly led to a number of different changes in the college football world over the last 10 years.
Trey, I think it's interesting seeing what A&M's been able to do this year. And I've asked this question throughout the year, and I'm going to pose it to you because each week it becomes even more real. A year ago at this time, they were 7-1. And, yeah, they had a chance to, even in the last game of the season, to make it to the SEC championship game. But it didn't look like this, right? There's something different about this team. With a third of the season left, right, to you, what stands out about this team different than maybe last year?
I think one of the things that interested me, and I was talking with people so I was going back and looking at halftime of what happened to the LSU game. And you saw what the score was. You saw what the A&M was kind of trailing right there, and you were waiting for them to hit that switch. And I think what Mike Elko is doing when it comes to adjustments, to me, that is standing out the most about this Texas A&M team. Because there were ways that LSU was scoring in the first half and kind of holding A&M down a little bit. And what do? They go in at halftime. They have a conversation. I'm sure Mike Elko gave a fantastic halftime speech, but that really didn't matter. It was about how they were reassessing what they were doing in the first half. And to me, that is going to go a very, very long way when it comes to the Aggies playing for a national championship, in my opinion. Because you're able to look at these opposing teams and what the defenses are doing and maybe how the offense is taking advantage of one spot on the field, and you're readjusting and you're going back out there. And the way that they came out in the third quarter, my first thought was, dang, okay, Elko gave one heck of a speech. Like, this team is fired up. But, man, they were fired up when they came on the field to start the game. Like, you didn't need any more passion out of this squad. It's how the coaching staff is adjusting. And I think that goes to show you, too, Mike Elko has done a fantastic job. He's a great head coach, but I think he's a better CEO of this program. He is delegating this to his assistants and letting them make the decisions on where, okay, we can improve here, we can improve here, let's take advantage of this team here. And you're starting to see that. What they did Saturday night, man, like, you had LSU on the ropes 10 minutes. I'm talking just 10 minutes of just real time in the second half. And you don't see that right now in college football. I tip my hat to what they are doing in College Station, because we talked about this before the season. I thought A&M was going to be a massive problem for teams this year. And I love what Marcel Reed is doing. And the way also he handled himself in that post-game press conference, man, he's just a laid-back guy that's going to tell you like he sees it. He threw out the line about Coach Moffitt, and the tackling dummy and whatnot. Like, Brian Kelly talked about at the end of the 2024 season how they were taking receipts. Let me tell you something. A&M is the one taking receipts in 2025, and I think it's showing on the field.
A couple weeks back, I was asked, what does Marcel have to do to get in the Heisman conversation? I said, look, if they're a 10-2, 11-1 type of team, he's going to be in the mix. But now, look, there's still ways to go, and I hate having the preface at that, but he's got some Heisman-esque moments along with the resume. The last pass against Notre Dame, splitting the Red Sea the way he did against LSU, and just the way he overcame some of his early mistakes. Is he in the conversation for you, Trey?
Yeah, now he is. I think over the last 3-4 weeks, he's really, I'm not going to say separate because I don't think there's really any separation in college football right now, but he's put himself up there on that list. He's put himself, in my opinion, in that top 5 list, and that's where you want to be. You've got a month left in the regular season. I hate how they do the Heisman, to be honest with you, right after championship Saturday and whatnot, but that's a story for another day. What he has been able to do, and I had high expectations for him coming into this season, and he has lived up to them. And I think if you're not talking about Marcel Reed in a Heisman conversation, there's probably something wrong with your college football brain a little bit. Maybe you're just not paying attention enough to Texas A&M, and that's fine. That's okay. But you better start noticing now, because this is a football team that is going out every single week and finding different problems in opposing teams and taking advantage of them.
We just lost your audio, buddy.
You there with me?
My headset. Continue on. Sorry. I think it's my headset.
No, it's okay. I think what he has been able to do and what he'll be able to do over the next month should put him into that conversation. I think that we are now talking about a Texas A&M team that not only is contending for a CFP spot and a first-round bye, we're talking about a quarterback that could potentially be in New York City when it comes to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. So I love what Marcel is doing. He's only going to get better, in my opinion. He loves the pressure. And that's what I really like the most about him, is that he is not budging in any way when the heat rises in the locker room.
Trey, help me understand the SEC right now. Now, we know it's the most competitive we've seen, top to bottom. And I'm like, for me, I'm like looking at it like, I know that there's going to be some attrition. I know some teams are going to play each other and lose. But like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is Texas legitimately a contender? Is Tennessee legitimately a contender for these playoffs? I look at these teams that have one conference loss. And then I look at the top tier, the Alabama, what they've been able to do since the Florida State game. I'm seeing what A&M is doing. I see what Ole Miss. I think they have a direct path. Georgia, they haven't seemed like the Georgia of old, yet they've got one conference loss, and they'll be able to prove it. Vanderbilt, goodness gracious, that story. Like, there's going to be a team in the SEC or two that doesn't get into the playoffs that absolutely is going to have a say in it.
I think back to the conversations that we were all having last year where, it was South Carolina and Alabama fighting to get that final playoff spot. And now you look at where we are this year, brother. I mean, there are 5 to 6 teams that I think are legitimate. Now, like you just said, we're going to have some folks knock each other out, I think, over the next few weeks. But, at the same time, like, if a team catches a second L on the season, like, you should still, you're going to be in that conversation. You should still be in that conversation. I think with Georgia, you kind of hit it. Obviously, this is not the same type of Georgia team that we have seen in the past, but they're finding ways to win football games. Like, at the end of the day, they're getting it done. No matter what the scoreboard said, no matter what the defensive stats say. You look at a team like Tennessee. Tennessee don't have a defense right now. Tennessee is struggling on defense and in that secondary. And it's not just a defensive coordinator. It's also the fact that you got 2 NFL draft picks that are on the sideline right now. The offense, I think, will be fine. Sure, they'll be tested by Oklahoma this weekend. And then, I'm in Nashville this past weekend covering the Vanderbilt-Missouri game. And sure, Vanderbilt's offense didn't have a good day. But goodness gracious, the defense did. And I get the whole backup quarterback thing that Missouri was playing with, and my heart goes out to Bo. But Vanderbilt is continuing to find ways to win. And Ole Miss writes itself. Ole Miss is good now. I think when it comes to Ole Miss could probably drop a game and still make the playoffs just because of their resume. But when we really break this down at the end of the year, and we're sitting here going into championship weekend in the SEC, where you automatically know those 2 teams are already getting in. That's why this play-in model for that final weekend would be perfect for the 2025 SEC year, because there are so many teams that have the opportunity. And like you just said, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 that are left out that deserve to be in. And I'm just saying here, if Vanderbilt were, and I hate this for them because Clark Lee has done such a great job, and I think folks around the SEC respect him so much in college football. But if Vanderbilt catches a loss, let's just say to Texas this weekend, but then wins out, the conversation is going to be, oh, well, does Vanderbilt deserve to get in? What's their biggest win potentially? Maybe Tennessee at the end of the year, a Missouri team without their starting quarterback? Like, that's what I hate about that whole part. So, yeah, man, I mean, strap up. This is, I know Texas A&M is sitting pretty right now, but Texas A&M needs to handle their business. Don't catch an L. Don't start a conversation about their seeding and what they should and should not be. And I'll say this too. Even if A&M were to slip up one game, it's not the end of the world. You're going to be fine. This is a team capable of winning a national championship, and Mike Elko has done that during his short time in the College Station.
Trey, last thing for you. Follow me on this. So I'm thinking to myself, if you're Florida State, if you're Auburn, you're one of these schools that are considering moving on from your head coach, maybe it's not the best idea right now because there are so many openings out there that you're like, you know, in years past, like Florida State should be able to have their hand pick, right? Auburn, they want to move on from Hugh Freeze, but like all the top names, like they thought John Summerall could be the guy. He could go wherever he wants right now. Like LSU, if they want Lane, they'll get him. Or if Florida wants some potential, I don't know if they'll get Lane. Actually, I don't know. I haven't figured out Lane yet.
I know what you're saying. Brother. It's like we're getting crazy times here. Okay, yeah. I don't. This is not even like 2021. Where we saw Lincoln Bolt for USC, and we saw Mario go to Miami, and Dan Lanning, and Marcus Freeman, and Brian Kelly. Like, we've hit a new era in college athletics, brother. And I'm not sure the conversation is done with Steve Sarkisian. I know he wants to come out there and deny NFL reports and whatnot. I'm just saying, would anything surprise you anymore? No. Like, we're at a point. But to your other point, I agree with you. In a situation think how good Mitch Barnhart at Kentucky is feeling this morning, knowing that LSU moved on. Who in the heck are we going to potentially go get? Because John Summerall, in my opinion, if Lane leaves Ole Miss, John Summerall will be the perfect fit in Oxford. Sorry, Auburn. You know, John Cohen wanted to reference car problems as to why he would make a change. Well, buddy, you might have car problems, but you might be stuck with that beat-up car for another year. And so you have to make tough choices here. Florida State's going to have to make a tough choice because when you look at it, the premier jobs in the country, man, there's only so many quote-unquote home run hires. And if I'm being honest with you, it's going to take a coach sitting in a massive school, and I'll even throw out Lincoln again. You know, where Dan Lanning, Oregon fans don't go crazy. I'm not saying Dan Lanning's leaving. I'm just using him as an example here. It would take something like that to happen again, or a Marcus Freeman leaving Notre Dame, for these schools to categorize their hire as a home run hire. And some folks, I think, down the stretch here are going to have to make a very, very tough decision on if they just want to punt on this year, piss off the fans at that current school, but realize, okay, we might have to make a change in 2026. That's how crazy this cycle has been, brother. And by the way, we're not done yet.
Trey, great stuff, brother. I appreciate you so much. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Have a great week, my man. Thank you.
You too. Trey Wallace there, Outkick on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. By the way, speaking of Marcel Reed, Heisman talk, and Johnny Manziel Heisman talk, fans are going to want to hear this. Aggie fans, get ready for Saturday. You'll never forget. Fitterman Sports is bringing the maroon and white spirit to Houston with an epic autograph meet and greet featuring your fighting Texas Aggie football stars, legends, leaders, and future of college football. Come meet Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner who lit up Aggieland, along with rising stars Marcel Reed, Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver. 4 Aggies, one forgettable day is happening Saturday, November 1st at Fitterman Sports Post Oak location inside of the Central Supply, right there in Houston. Bring your helmets, your jerseys, and unbeatable Aggie pride for autographs, photos, and memories that'll last a lifetime. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Head to FittermanSports.com right now and lock yours before they're gone. And also follow them, Fitterman Sports, on Facebook and Instagram for all the action. That's FittermanSports.com, November 1st. Fitterman Sports, the fighting Texas Aggies. Be there. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs. And remember, gig 'em. Oh, hey, I'm on the air. That's interesting. TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Schuler's Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm trying to figure out, guys. I'm going to ask this question out loud because I'm thinking to myself, I don't have an answer for this, at least in the last 15 years. I'm sure there's one. When has a splash hire in college football worked? I mean, Nick Saban going to Bama worked. Urban Meyer going to Florida, and I don't even know if that was considered a splash hire at the time, leaving Utah. And I guess when he went to Ohio State, he won a national championship, right? But like recently, when has it worked? Like, are there examples of this splash hire that, you know, like, would you say Lincoln Riley to USC has worked so far? Would you say Brian Kelly to LSU worked? Why am I laughing? Because I know the answer. So no, like, I'm trying to think. Charlie Weiss didn't work. If Lane Kiffin leaves, will it work? Like, I'm trying to figure out like where the splash hires have worked in college football recently. I'm sure I'm missing one. Text us at 979-693-1150 is TexAgs Live. And we are back, and I'm kind of just like lost. I'm confused. That's typical. I'm so used to starting the show with OB, and we have he's kind of like my morning latte, if you will. Like we get this energy when we start the go hour. Now we're the low hour.
Yeah.
Low man on the totem pole. We're now doing the 10 o'clock hour, brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin Buchanan.
Yeah, I lost my starting job. Now I'm coming off the bench.
10 o'clock hour is considered prime time, though. So you have
I thought on radio the best time is drive time, right?
Yeah, but the audience is trained to go for Billy at 10 a.m. on a Monday, so you're getting the Billy audience.
Well, I just feel like I lost my starting job, that's all.
Well, OB, I got a few emotions about Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Wish I was there.
Yeah, we should have been there.
Glad I wasn't. Because the drive back and having to do Luchador later would have sucked.
Yeah.
I was glad to get it out. We did it early on Sunday.
Got it done out of the way. I watched it.
And also, these guys have experienced it before, get to experience my moodiness of a college football game, of the curse words in Spanish, to the excitement, to the anger, to questioning, to understanding, all those things. So you're sitting by yourself, or who are you sitting with?
Yeah, I had a guy from Sports Illustrated to my right, and I had Alex Miller to my left.
Okay. And what were your football emotions during the game? Not journalistic emotions, your football emotions.
I was watching it and thinking to myself, A&M's an absolute... the game, first of all, reminded me a lot of the very first SEC game up until a point, let me say. Mm-hmm. The very first SEC game between A&M and LSU. It was here.
Yep.
And A&M just comes out and scores, and they're having no trouble. They're dominating the game. They're controlling the first half. And then through a series of mistakes, there was an interception, a late interception, there was a fumble, and somehow LSU goes into the halftime with a lead. Like, how did that happen? And that's kind of like that. And then, like in that game, and here's the difference. In that game, in 2012, Trey Williams, I think his name is, returns a kickoff all the way to the 15, but they miss a field goal. And this time, you get a big-time kickoff return from Terry Bussey, but they go down and score, and then everything changes. So I was spending a lot of time in that game thinking A&M's just going to blow them out, and then I was thinking, what is it about A&M? I complain about this a lot. What is it about A&M, no matter what the circumstances, not finishing a half, the first half well, for the second game in a row, right? And I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, this isn't a game if A&M doesn't, pee on their own shoes.
Right.
They're not. LSU could not stop A&M. A&M could stop A&M with a premature snap, and then an interception in the end zone where I thought they would just run it 4 times and score. And quite frankly, this game should have been probably 28-7 at the half.
I agree.
And so, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, and it was just like, I wonder what they're going to do in the second half, because they had showed that they could move the ball on them, and that they were doing a really good job on, they were doing a good job on defense, Look, I know that you didn't ask this. They got to address that situation. I know all's well as ends well, but they got to address that situation with Des Ricks picking up. You just stopped them, and you're forced to punt, and you reach over a referee to slap a guy in the head. Now, I know he hit you first, but why don't you just get off the field, let your offense get the ball, and when you get back out there, if you feel the need to pick up a 15-yard penalty, do it then, not when you're going to get the ball back. Play smart, Aggies, my goodness sake. But anyway, I just thought, I thought the only way A&M could lose that game, because they were clearly the better team, is if they let LSU win it.
Yeah. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. And as a reminder, They are not open on Mondays. Obi, I want to go down that track. You mentioned the Des Ricks penalty, but you in your write-up after the game, I thought you had some really the way you encapsulated everything that happened. The errant first down snap with the 11-yard loss, the block punt for a safety, a Marcel Reed pass intercepted in the end zone, the stop on 3rd and 18 nullified with the penalty, then the 41-yard completion play on the next play, a dropped interception that I don't know if it would have been a pick six, but it would have felt good, right? And then another Marcel Reed interception. And then you also mentioned the missed tackle by Will Lee that allows Caden Durham to gain 28 yards. If you say, and it sets up a field goal. You say all that, and that's the information you have. And by the way, it's on the road at Baton Rouge. You think A&M gets the doors blown out of them?
Well, and they were behind.
Yeah,
they were behind because of that sequence. That sequence, put them behind, even though they were completely in control. And I think Mike Elko talked about it in the post-game press conference. I'm sure y'all have already referred to it when he told them, "Hey, you got to play better, or you're gonna let one slip through your hands." Yep. And they came out in the second half and they played better and they played smart and they dominated the game. Which this game, if not for that sequence, and some of it was bad luck and some of it was bad decisions, some of it was just not smart play. But if you go out and you take away that sequence, A&M provided Mike Elko doesn't get too charitable. A&M wins that game 60-17, 63-17. If not, I mean, that's how much better A&M was, in my opinion. I mean, they still won 49. I'm talking about just 2 more touchdowns. If you don't have that sequence, I mean, that's how much better A&M was to LSU. I'm more convinced than ever after watching that A&M can win the national championship. Now, they're going to have to clean up some things, and that sequence is an example. But I know Billy talked about it this morning. I agree with him. All right, yeah, Indiana's having a big year. Ohio State's great again. Tell me a team out there that says, no, A&M can't beat them. Who's been more impressive than A&M? I wouldn't say Indiana has as good as they beat. Yeah, they blew the doors off. They beat Oregon. Well, I would say the win over Notre Dame is at least equivalent to that.
Yep.
And they blew the doors off of Illinois. Well, it turns out we're finding out Illinois is not very good.
Yeah.
Or very, very average. So, and then Ohio State, who they beat?
The only team they beat is Texas.
I mean, right. The team that 2 weeks in a row has gotten lucky to win in overtime against some of the weakest teams in the SEC.
Yeah. Obi, do you think, because I do think, look, you got to finish the season. I recognize that. I don't want to preface everything, but
you got to win in November.
You got to win in November, and that's still a question, but I feel way better than I ever have. But I feel like that kind of win and the win at Notre Dame now is kind of like a serum, if you will, for cleaning up or curing, BAS. Because like now you're thinking to yourself, wait, all these limitations that people have told me about my program, you got to do it in November. I've already said that, right?
That's the next one.
But you can't win on the road against teams that are at all. Well, Coach Elko won on the road right away.
Right.
You can't beat top 10 teams on the road. Well, they did that against Notre Dame. Well, you can't win in Baton Rouge. Why am I yelling? You can't win in Baton Rouge. You won in Baton Rouge. Okay?
Man, I think you should yell that one.
Okay.
You won in Baton Rouge.
Like you're doing all these things, right? Like it. If you are somebody, and by the way, I'm watching the game. I'm getting text messages from people. I'm sure you are too. Like, dude, we can't do this. We're going to lose. They're finding ways not just to win, to step on freaking throats.
Yeah, I just, my only real complaint is they could have stepped on that throat a lot sooner, right? And maybe that's the next step of this team because they keep getting better. And maybe the next step is, hey, you know what? A team like LSU has to rely on your mistakes and not their ability to stay in the game. And so you alleviate those and, maybe just steamroll the rest of the season. I hope they do. I can't think of anything that I wish the defense still has a tendency to give up these loud plays, but they're getting fewer.
Yeah.
But so I wish they could cut that even down some more. But offensively, what do you need that you don't have?
So I'm glad that we went down this path because Daniel on the YouTube set page, and I've seen this a couple different times, Heather Dinners thinks Bama has been more impressive.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well,
and then they've beaten more ranked teams.
They got a loss.
But they have
I'm sorry they lost. If A&M were to lose a game, I think I might listen to that. But A&M has not lost. They haven't.
I would love to see if the SEC championship game became to A&M and Alabama. I wouldn't blink. I wouldn't be going, "Oh my God, I got to play Alabama." No, I'd say I'd expect to win that game. Let's go.
I would too, and it might be A&M Ole Miss.
It might be, and I'd expect to win that game.
I would too, and it might be A&M Georgia, and I'd feel good there too.
I'd feel really good about that matchup.
And it might be A&M and Vandy, and I'd feel good there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think A&M's the best team in the SEC, and if you're the best team in the SEC, that makes you a legitimate national championship contender.
Yeah, I like what this team is doing about belief for us, right? Like the way they go about their business and the halftime adjustments. We've seen it so many times. Yeah. Like it's, and I don't know
if it's LSU have 14 yards total offense in the third quarter,
and I don't even know if it's all X's and O's. But whatever potion they're cooking up at halftime, if it's a conversation, if it's yelling, if it's, all right, we're going to move you to here, whatever they're doing is working.
You know what? It all goes back to Elko. We'll say this again. The trajectory of Texas A&M football changed as soon as he left for Duke. And then it changed again since he came back. So you expect whatever, if A&M has an issue in the first half, you expect that he's going to address it and it's going to be better in the second half. You've come to that point where you're okay. Let's see what, you know what it's like. You're going to like this. You're really going to like this.
Okay, tell me.
It's like watching the old Batman TV show.
Oh, I hated that show.
Yeah, but it's still Batman. And in the first part, they always struggle, they get in trouble. But the second part, they pow, bang, boom, and they come back and they rescue everything and they emerge triumphant.
Eartha Kitt.
Now, talk about some Eartha Kitt now.
Not anymore.
What? That's
back in the day. Anyway, third of the
Julie
season left.
Yeah.
Mizzou, who they've got some issues now.
Yeah.
At quarterback. South Carolina, who played an admirable game against.
They blew an opportunity to beat Alabama.
Samford.
I like A&M's chances against Samford and Sun.
I do too. And Texas.
And I think A&M's a better football team than Texas. I don't think anybody that's watched both teams play at all. I don't know how anyone in Austin could deny that. I mean, just look at the way Texas lost to Florida. Look at the way Texas lucked into beating a bad Kentucky team. Look at the way Texas. So I didn't get to see the whole game of the Mississippi State game. So it's my understanding, Ronnie was telling me this, I didn't see this, that Mississippi State's up 17-0. And it's
17 points, yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, 17-point lead. And just got basically a stop, but they got a late hit on the quarterback.
Yes.
And so they got the ball with a 17-0 lead if some kid doesn't make a boneheaded decision.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how many players just don't seem to understand. I know you're going all out, but smart teams don't do things like that. Successful teams don't do stuff like that.
So, OB, I don't know where my kids are going to go to college, my sons. I hope they go to A&M. They're in the middle of that process right now. And if they end up going somewhere else, LSU, Texas, unfortunately for them, when my team does really well, they're going to hear about it because they made the wrong choice when it comes to school. Hopefully they make the right choice. I don't know. Not to put a lot of pressure on them. And hopefully A&M offers them. That being said, okay, you have a son that goes to LSU.
Yeah, I do.
And not that I hope you bragged and laughed.
I didn't.
Okay, because that's your son and that's your baby boy forever.
Well, if you saw all the text messages he was sending me after the game.
What was it like? Yeah.
He was way out on the ledge.
Okay.
And he was ready to bring Brian Kelly on the ledge with him and push him off. And so some of the text messages cannot be repeated, but let's just say he was distraught and angry.
I can bet So before that game, I thought even if A&M beat LSU, and I felt very good that they were going to beat them, I was like, there's no way they're going to fire Brian Kelly. As I'm watching that game unfold, and I'm watching our social media video of sawing him off, and we've got that guy holding the sign, Brian Kelly must go, and it's just like we're take over. Aggies took over Tiger Stadium, right? All those things are happening.
What? LSU surrendered Tiger Stadium to A&M. They surrendered it.
They left.
It was like, it don't hurt us anymore.
Right. Well, at what point did you realize, all right, this guy's probably going to get fired? Was it during the game? Or were you still like, no, I don't know?
I think during the game, I'm like, this is going to happen. I still didn't think it would happen like that day or the next day. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going through scenarios. I was talking to a guy. He sent to my right. He was from Baton Rouge newspaper before Mike Elko came out for his press conference. And we're talking about it, and it was a really bizarre conversation because he basically contradicted himself. But he seemed like a really nice guy because he said, "Well, I don't think they can fire him because they're going to have to pay him $53 million." He actually said 54, and he goes, "They don't have A&M money." And at LSU, I'm like, "Well, people usually find the money, so I guess Lane Kiffin will go to Florida." He said, "Oh no, he's coming here." I'm like, "Wait, you just said they can't fire the guy."
Right.
And now you're saying, "No, Lane Kiffin's coming here." I'm like,
so what do you think? You think Lane Kiffin goes to Baton Rouge?
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if it was up to me, if I was Lane Kiffin and I had the opportunity to go to Baton Rouge or Florida, I'd go to Florida.
I would go to Florida too. Why would you rather go to Florida?
Baton Rouge is a crap hole.
Yeah.
I mean, their own citizens don't want to live there. They like 100,000 of them broke away from Baton Rouge and started their own town.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's called St. George's, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this really happened. They went to the state Supreme Court to allow them to break away and not be part of Baton Rouge anymore because it's a disgusting place. Now LSU's nice, so if you stay around the campus and real close,
that's really nice.
That's nice, but you venture too far away, and it kind of sucks. So look, there's a lot of good football players in both places. At LSU, you have more proximity to Texas and Houston, so they've always done real well in Houston and East Texas. But and I know you're the only big time school program in the state, but that just seems, Florida just seems to me to be a better place to go. But or what if he doesn't? What if Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss? No one's ever even considered that possibility.
What is better for A&M? I don't think it matters because if you got the right guy in Coach Elko, you beat whoever's out there and you start your own dynasty. But that being said, if I wanted it to be easier, I think Lane Kiffin going somewhere else makes it easier, right? Because I don't know if they're going to be able to match what they have with Lane with another coach.
I think, all right, if you're talking about A&M from a competitive standpoint, I think the best thing that could happen to A&M is Lane Kiffin stay right there in Ole Miss because it's just harder to recruit to Mississippi than it is to Florida and LSU. So that's what I'd hope. I think all those Mississippi folks that have money there, maybe they'll all pull their money and give him a deal like the Indiana guy got.
Right.
And that might not even be enough because this Lane Kiffin, I'm telling you, if you got Florida and LSU and maybe and then Ole Miss all bidding for you, he may get the best deal ever.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break, OB. You want to tell the people what you're wearing right now? What shirt?
A Duck Camp shirt.
Do you like the way it fits?
I do.
Yeah, Duck Camp. Mid-season, the weather's finally cooling off, and football is getting really good. Obviously, we've got an undefeated football team. If you're lucky, your mornings are in the blinds, or afternoons are grilling out, and evenings watching Aggie football, beat the hell out of opponents. And that's what Duck Camp gear is built for. Built for the outdoors, from the hunt to the tailgate to everything in between. They've got the essential hoodie, the softest, most comfortable hoodie you'll own. Wear it hunting, wear it to Little League, wear it to the tailgate. Heck, wear it to bed. Field-tested comfort made for real life. And when you step it up a notch, you can do the lightweight brush over shirt, durable, sharp, and made for that perfect crossover from the field to the drinks to the fire. Pair with some brush pants, tough enough for the outdoors, but clean enough for game day. Whether you're hunting birds at sunrise or flipping burgers before kickoff, Duck Camp's got you covered. Check it out at duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors, designed for everything else. Gig 'em, it's Duck Camp. I can't believe we were listening to your playlist again.
That's
Culture Club.
That'd never be mine.
Boy George and Obi.
No, that's yeah. We do not. I didn't. I was alive when they were at their peak, and I wasn't.
I was alive at their peak.
I wasn't paying attention then either. No.
Karma Chameleon, whatever that song's called.
Yeah,
that was it, right?
I think
Karma
it was.
Chameleon.
Is it Karma? I never know. I didn't know there was something about a chameleon.
Yeah.
Anyway, no.
You're kind of a chameleon.
You think?
No.
I think I'm always kind of. Hey, by the way, friend, Big Aggie. A lot of people know him. Everybody knows him as Groho. I think his name's Ronald Grohowski.
Groho.
And he sends me a text message saying, "Calm down. We're 8-0. Enjoy the moment." Do I seem stressed or something?
You were very disappointed with the penalty.
I can see this team with the legitimate ability to win the national championship.
Yeah.
So I want to double down. It's like I'm at the table and I got an ace, and the dealer's got a 6. So I'm screaming for that 10 to get the 21. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just you clean up some things, and this team is as good as anybody and better than almost everybody.
Where do we usually hang out?
The Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
The whole show's mixed up, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're usually at 8 a.m., but now we're doing the low hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations because lowest man on the totem pole, Olin Buchanan here at the 10 o'clock hour.
That's me.
By the way, speaking of our friends at Holistic Planning, any clients from TexAgs that sign up by November the 27th will receive this offer. If and when the Aggies beat the Longhorns in Austin on November the 28th, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
How about that? They're going to win.
I hope so.
I know this doesn't happen, so I shouldn't even say it, but I'm thinking 12-0.
Okay.
I mean, it's so hard to go through the SEC.
Well, why not just say 13-0 then?
Well, because you always talk in the context of the regular season.
Yeah.
I've already won my bet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my under-over bet.
Not the tattoo bet, the other bet.
Yeah. So I already got that one.
Hey, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, a text about Aggie quarterbacks.
Yeah, we got one, and we fact-checked a little bit, but Haynes, Marcel, and Connor combined this season are 23-1.
They didn't bring up
Zach
Calzada. There's another one out there. But you know what? Eli Stowers, he's not playing quarterback, but he's
pretty darn good.
He's in there. He's a former A&M quarterback playing tight end. There might be another one out there. Oh, yeah, it's Max Johnson. Yeah, you don't want to talk about Max either.
And speaking of Zach Calzada on the year has played in 2 games, won 1, lost 1, QBR in the first game of 31.8, and QBR of 25.2 against Ole Miss.
You know what? I don't care. Zach, you beat Alabama, so you're cool with us forever.
Forever.
And he's Cuban.
OB, that's a big deal. Let's be honest about that. Fernando Mendoza, Zach Calzada, David Nuño. We're talking about like the Mount Rushmore of Cubans in college football, except I didn't play any college football.
Who would be the Mount Rushmore of Cuban college football?
That's it, right there. I just gave it to you. It's got to be another one.
No,
Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, but there's got to be a player. I guarantee there's a player.
Play on, playa. OB, I don't think we did this on the air.
All right.
And if we did, I'm getting, because we kind of do a radio show during the breaks, right? So sometimes would Marcel right now be invited to New York, you think?
Yeah, he'd be invited. I'll have him probably. I haven't done my rankings for this week. I'd probably have him no worse than 4. But I look at on the Heisman race. Think of a horse race, and down the stretch they come.
The stretch they come.
And I see Marcel as this one, maybe in 3rd or 4th place, but is closing fast. You see him just coming up on the outside, and like a bullet.
Yeah.
And if I could take 3 plays away or change them, 3, Marcel is not only in the conversation, he's the leader. If I could take away, all right, the interception in the end zone this week.
Yep.
Okay. If I could take away the penalty on the long run against Arkansas, which
he scored a touchdown.
And then if I could take away a penalty on the ineligible receiver downfield on the touchdown pass against Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
if you can give me those 3 plays and turn them into positives, 2 touchdowns, and give him, if he gets touchdowns, those 3 touchdowns, I believe that he's far and away the leader. And I'll tell you what, it says most outstanding player. As good as the guys like Ty Simpson are and Fernando Mendoza, what play stands out to you?
For their games, I don't watch them intently enough to know. But Marcel's had several of these plays.
That's my point. And those are some of those plays that were just taken away.
Yeah. Look, the touchdown pass at South Bend is a Heisman-esque moment.
Absolutely.
His touchdowns this weekend, pick which one, are Heisman-esque moments.
The 41-yard touchdown to run to start it, that was the thing of beauty. That's what I've been calling for forever. And then
the one with Harold Perkins, I think it's Harold Perkins.
Where he kind of lazy.
Yeah.
I figured you'd like that. And then, the touchdown pass he threw to KC Concepcion, he's extending the play. And so he's doing Heisman.
Pass the ABR.
Oh, the
catch and the pass.
I got to say this. It was probably
more ABR.
Oh, definitely more ABR. And it was probably an ill-advised pass. Throwing across. Right. But he got it right over the, I guess it was a linebacker, maybe a safety's head. Here it comes. And, I might give Bethel Roman a Heisman vote for this. Look at it. Right hand reaching back. Oh, I wish he would have scored on that.
God, me too. That was beautiful. All right, we will hit a break. On the other side, the turning point, OB. I wrote down turning point on my run sheet several times in the first half that thank goodness we're not the turning point. Mine's going to be in the second half, okay? We'll talk about that. I got a couple different ones I'd like to hear from you. Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're ready to take the operation to the next level, Caldwell Country Chevrolet has expanded their selection to commercial vehicles to keep your everyday business moving in the right direction. From service body trucks to heavy-duty flatbeds to medium-duty trucks, they can handle those tough jobs. And they're the newly designated Business Elite dealer, which means they understand what it takes to keep your business moving in the right direction. And every commercial vehicle comes with that legendary free oil change for life because they believe in supporting local businesses just like they support Aggie athletics. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the low hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, David Nuño. I'm just going to read, sorry, I'm going to take your thunder. I'm going to read this text from Steve. Okay? I'm laughing because I think it's funny, just considering the landscape in college football where we are right now. Should A&M offer Mike Elko a lifetime contract?
I don't know if I'm going to go say lifetime. I don't want some guy 100 years old out there.
Right.
Still.
Nick Saban might be the only coach that could get a lifetime contract.
But I think they should give him probably what he wants, but let's wait till after the season. And
you don't need this during the bye week chit chat to see if you can figure it out.
Let's wait till after the season. Okay. And then, you can be negotiating right now. And then do whatever you can to keep Tommy Moffitt around too.
That's the one I was worried about.
Because somebody is going to try to bring him back to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. That's exactly what's going to happen. So just keep him happy here. And this was another funny one. This one's from, where is it? I forget. Some big-time baller or something. One of the guys on YouTube said, Luke can't get on the show to talk about Aggie basketball exhibition. Not on a Monday after beating LSU. We'll work in Luke at some point this week, but not today.
Not today.
Today is all about Aggie football and the ripple effects of that victory, not only for the SEC, coaches, and whatnot. OB, the turning point, we both agree with it, was?
We both agree it's with KC. KC Concepcion, the Immaculate Concepcion.
What a sunshine.
We knew that he was going to add a new dimension to that A&M, just not the offense, the special teams too.
Yep.
So when he takes that punt return, I couldn't see who it was. Somebody avoids getting a block in the back, comes in and takes out three guys by just screening the closest guy to him. You'll see it here in a minute. And then who is that? And then you know who right there is Busty. See, he's But I'm sorry if you can't see this on TV. You're going to see him in the open field, and I think it's E.J. Smith is going to tell. We can't see it because it's all focused. He tells. I think it's number 33, Jordan Jerry Kerr. He basically points and he says, "Hey, there's a guy coming up behind him."
Yeah.
And the guy comes in and takes care of that guy. But that was an amazing play, and I think at that time everybody knew, if you're from LSU, that it was a lost cause.
It was over. And that turned not that play, but the opening 6 minutes of the third quarter turned a 4-point deficit into a 10-point lead, and it felt over. Yeah, is 10 points insurmountable? No, it just felt over.
Yeah, it was one of those things, again, you let them back in the game. You left the door open, all right? And what they did was, the cat got in because you left the door open, and then in the second half, you got the broom and swatted the cat right back out the door and then shut it.
Right. And then I'm going to throw in a different one that may not feel like the turning point, but I think it had the term I'm using today, ripple effects. The Cassius Howell first sack. It wasn't the turning point, but in a way it was like, you're in for a long night tonight, Garrett Nussmeier.
And he was. I was talking to Richard in the break, and I can't remember the actual year, but it was Austin. I think it's Austin Allen, the quarterback from Arkansas. Might have been 16, and he just got physically abused by the A&M pass rush. And I remember, I think it was Deshaun Hall laying him out, and Claude George. I can't remember the actual year, but he got abused, and I felt sorry for him. And it was kind of, I've not seen that I can remember a quarterback just get so physically abused by the A&M pass rush to that degree until what they did to Nussmeier. I mean, Nussmeier seems like a really nice kid and everything, but hey, you're not in my jersey, so forget you. And they just wore him out.
Aggie fans, by the way, get ready for a Saturday you'll never forget. Fitterman Sports is bringing Maroon and White Spirit to Houston with an epic autograph meet and greet with a couple of legends and leaders from this year's team. Come meet Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner who lit up Aggieland, along with rising stars. You're going to want to go to this, OB. Marcel Reed, Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver. So 4 Aggies, one forgettable.
So it's Johnny Football,
Juan,
Marvelous Marcelino,
Marcelino,
Super Mario, And the
Mario.
Immaculate Concepcion.
Concepcion.
Okay.
Yeah. All at one place at one time, happening Saturday, November 1st. Fitterman Sports Post Oak location inside of Central Supply right here. Oh, not right here, but there in Houston, Texas. Bring your helmets, your jerseys, and that unbeatable Aggie pride for autographs, photos, and memories that'll last a lifetime. Tickets will go fast, so don't wait. Head to FittermanSports.com right now to lock in yours before they're gone, and make sure to follow Fitterman on Facebook and Instagram for all the action. That is FittermanSports.com, November the 1st. Fitterman Sports, the fighting Texas Aggies. Be there for an undefeated team and an unforgettable day at Fitterman Sports with Marcel, with KC, with Mario, and Johnny Football. All right, OB, as we continue here, I look at this team and I'm thinking, all right, so what now? What now is the bye week, and then a Missouri team that is also, I know the quarterback situation, they're saying that Bo Perbula could come back at some point this year. I severely doubt it will be against A&M, but a very desperate Missouri team that's trying to fight for their playoff lives.
Yeah. Look, A&M's a better team, and I know you have to go up there. Okay, you have to go up there. You got to play well. I think if A&M goes up there and keeps, what's the kid's name? Ahmad Harvey. If they can keep him to under 100 yards, and which I think they'll keep him way under 100, you're going to win the game. I mean, you're just a better football team unless you do things to let them win. But if you play your brand of football, I don't know that there's any defense that's going to keep A&M out of the 30s now that they've got things going, and typically out of the 40s. I mean, the only way they've kept themselves out of the 30s or 40 the 40s.
On the road they haven't. On the road they've done.
On the but when they haven't gotten there, like they're going to be in the 30s or 40s against Auburn if they didn't have turnovers. Not turnovers, but penalties. A pandemic of penalties.
So the Missouri game is a flex game, which means it could be anywhere between 2:30.
That's why you're going, because the flex game. You go out there.
I like flexing.
You're gonna be breaking out into the crab and stuff.
I might at the crab. Is that what we call it?
Is that what's it called?
5 to 7 Central Time. These are the options. So 2:30 to 3:30 or the 5 to 7.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the 2:30.
I am too. Why are you hoping for the 2:30?
Well, first of all, it's easier for me.
Yeah.
Right. Secondly, I think the earlier the better for the visiting team. If you're the next time you have the McGee brothers on there, you may ask not the McKinney brothers. We got too many Scottish people around here. The McKinney brothers, and you may ask. They probably told you this before, but typically players hate the road games that start at night because you're just waiting all day. Hey, let's go. Yep. We're here. I don't want to just hang out in the hotel. Let's go. So I think that's better and the last time we went to Missouri, that was an afternoon game.
It was.
Remember Devon Achane having a big game?
Yeah, and it was a game that I think that not only did A&M dominate, but it felt close at times. Like, why is this game close? Like, slammed the door shut.
Right.
And Elko.
Here's what's so exciting. I know you agree with this. A&M 8-0 just beat the living daylights out of LSU and still hasn't played the complete game yet.
But that was the most complete game they played.
It was a tremendous second half. But you can look at this game and says, look how much better they can still play. Look at the places where you can get better easily. You don't have the premature snap.
Yep.
How you may go a whole year and not have that.
Well, hopefully
you don't have a block punt.
People keep asking if I have any updates on Le'Veon. I have no updates on Le'Veon yet.
He was on
a scooter, right?
Scooter, yeah.
Yeah. And then Ruben Owens, people are asking. I don't have an update on Ruben Owens either. Hopefully they just kept him out because they didn't need him. The game was in hand. But the way Morrow's running, the way EJ's running, the way Amari Daniels is running.
Amari ran really well.
Yeah. So they've got options. So get healthy.
And I would expect Ruben, especially with an open week, to be fine.
Yeah. Me too.
I'd be surprised if he's not.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back and we'll close out the low hour presented by the Warehouse at DC Creations. Let me talk to you about Chance McClain. He's not just a filmmaker, he's a storyteller, he's a buddy of mine, and he's here to make stories for your family. If this is the first time you're listening to the show and you've never, we've got some really cool numbers on YouTube. By the way, like and subscribe and comment and do all that good stuff. But if you haven't heard about Heritage Films, you're missing out. Heritage Films is a documentary company that does family stories, right? So You don't have to be a famous person. You don't have to be Kevin Costner or Brad Pitt. You can be just normal Caden Schwartner, right? You can just be a normal person and get a documentary done about you, your family business, your family ranch, your grandfather, your dad, your mother, whoever it may be, somebody that is important in your family. And Chance will do a 2-hour documentary for your family that when you watch together will be so impactful and it'll be a gift for the future generation, something that your kids and their kids will be able to watch back and be like, oh, that family was cool. Oh, that family was a little crazy. Whatever the story may be, let Chance McClain tell that story. He's a first-class human being and a first-class storyteller. The website is yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. I'm watching Dark Wolf, Terminal List. Have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's fantastic. I play a lot of Leonard Skinner on there, so I think you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I feel like that's your jam. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, I feel bad for our audience because typically we try to get to more messages, but today's been kind of a jam-packed show, and kind of our timing was all kind of flipped around. So I know Chase has got some stuff. I know Jarrett's got some stuff, Dave and Franklin, and I'm sure there's something on the premium board as well.
Yeah, this is one that we talked about a little bit and just said, we witnessed the first complete half of an A&M football game. This is scary.
It was a great half.
Yep.
Just what happens when you get that for 4 quarters?
Yeah, and also, look, people are going to say, well, LSU wasn't that good, or
they always say that.
Auburn wasn't that good. Well, yeah, sure. But my point is, it's all part of the story is when you play them and what you do to them. So when Alabama takes on LSU, maybe their spirits are done. They got a new coach. It felt like they quit on Brian Kelly in that game. So
all I know is that LSU came into the game with 2 losses, and both of them were by a touchdown or less on the road to teams that are currently in the top 10, and got their asses kicked by A&M.
Ella?
Yeah, with that kind of goes. Someone said, I hope outsiders remember that A&M is beating everyone on their schedule when the public keeps saying this team is in wounded animal mode and needs this. Notre Dame, Auburn, Florida, LSU.
Yeah.
Remember how there was this national media thing last year when people were talking about how it came up how lame Indiana's schedule was.
Yeah.
And say, hey, they beat everybody on their schedule. They belong in the playoffs. They beat everybody on their schedule. And A&M still has to win 4 more games. But I don't understand. There always seems to be different standards, right?
Yeah.
If you're one of the teams that people are intrigued with, well, hey, it's a great story. It doesn't matter who they played. It doesn't matter because they won all their games. But on A&M now, you're saying, well, they who they played? Well, Notre Dame, which is ranked. Notre Dame will be in the top 10 in 2 weeks.
Can you read Chase and Houston's question there on the text line?
On the text line? Yeah, I got it. Oh, he said, is this the most, or what is the most satisfying win that A&M has had since joining the SEC? Satisfying being different from best or favorite?
Okay, I'm going to answer this prisoner of the moment. I think this LSU game, and I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why.
Okay.
The Notre Dame game, I was so shocked by that victory that it was like I almost didn't get to I was like pinching myself like, did this really happen? Did we really beat them on basically a last-second play? With a pass to our tight end who's supposed to be a blocking tight end. Like, did that really just happen? Like, it was almost like I wasn't able to absorb it. The Alabama victory was so satisfying with the season, the way it ended. Kind of like just, I still think about that moment all the time. It's still one of the most, this victory against LSU. We'll see. Hopefully there's a lot more victories that'll matter. But at least right now, the most satisfying beatdown on the road.
For me, it's Notre Dame this year.
Yeah.
To go out and win that one. I think a lot of people question whether A&M could win on the road against Notre Dame, and they did.
Hopefully we're saying that a lot this year, right? Beating Texas and finishing 12-0, winning the SEC championship game, winning our first playoff game. Hopefully we have a bunch of those talking about satisfying victories.
Yeah. You know what? So far we have 8 of them. I was satisfied with all of them.
So that's going to do it for TexAgs Live. By the way, no layups today at around 12:20. We're going to do that live, by the way. We're actually doing it live with Raheel. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Tomorrow on the program, Josh Pate, and I think we'll work on some other things. See you mañana.